We, physicists, are accustomed to looking at the night sky as a magnificent cosmic clockwork, a grand celestial ballet, governed by the elegant laws of gravity laid down by Newton and refined by Einstein. We look at Orion, at its shoulder, at the red supergiant Betelgeuse, and we assume these are permanent participants in this cosmic dance. This faith in predictability, it underlies all of our astrophysics. It is the very foundation upon which our models of reality are built. But what if this predictability is merely a temporary state? What if, in this cosmic symphony that we thought we understood, a sudden, violent, and unpredictable final chord has been written? What if, one night, the familiar equations describing this star simply stop working, and in their place, we witness an event that fundamental physics considers impossible? Today, we are not discussing hypotheses from string theory, not another supercomputer simulation. We are discussing real, irrefutable data, an observation, a measurement that is forcing us right now to tear pages from the textbooks, because the data is unequivocal. Betelgeuse has gone supernova. And believe me, that's not even the most startling part of the new equation. Now, according to the laws of physics, a star's death is not heralded by a flash of light. No, the first messenger of this cosmic demise is far more elusive. It is a ghost, a neutrino. These ghost particles, as we call them, are born in the collapsing core of a star and fly through planets and other stars as if they were empty space. And our first signal came from deep within the Earth, from the colossal, pristine water-filled detectors in Japan, at Super Kamiokande, and from the Antarctic ice sheet's ice cube. These titanic instruments are not designed to see, but to feel the ghostly whisper of the universe. They catch neutrinos, tiny, almost massless particles that pass through matter as if it doesn't exist. Billions of them pass through your body every second, leaving not a trace. But when a massive star like Betelgeuse dies, its core collapses under its own gravity in a fraction of a second. This event of unimaginable density and energy unleashes a flood of neutrinos so powerful that it momentarily outshines the light of all the stars in the galaxy. It is a star's death scream, racing through the cosmos at the speed of light. And we heard it. The signal was unmistakable. A short, monstrously intense burst coming from the exact direction of the constellation Orion. Data from all observatories worldwide matched to the femtosecond. The statistical significance exceeded 5 sigma. In physics, that means a discovery, not a hypothesis, a fact. The core of Betelgeuse, approximately 642 light-years away from us, has collapsed. The gravitational collapse has occurred. And now, the shockwave of light and radiation is heading our way. The blinding, final roar of a dying giant. And this is where the scientific context becomes critically important. We knew this was going to happen. Betelgeuse is a red supergiant, a star in the final stage of its evolution, bloated to colossal proportions. If you placed it in the center of our solar system, it would swallow Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, and possibly even Jupiter. It was doomed. For decades, astrophysicists argued only about the timing. Some said 100,000 years, others 10,000. The most daring predictions gave us 1,000 years. None of them expected this in their lifetime. The great dimming of Betelgeuse in 2019-2020, when the star faded dramatically, turned out to be a false alarm, a rehearsal, a dress rehearsal, as we now understand. The established worldview was simple. We were accidental witnesses, lucky enough to live at a safe distance from the coming cataclysm. 642 light-years is far, Far enough for the supernova to become the most spectacular sight in human history, but not a lethal threat. It would shine in the sky brighter than a full moon for several weeks, visible even during the day. The greatest astronomical show. But there was one terrifying detail in this worldview. A gamma-ray burst. A GRB. This is a tightly focused beam of high-energy radiation that erupts from the poles of a dying star. Imagine not just light, but a cosmic flamethrower, capable of sterilizing everything in its path for thousands of light years. And the axis of rotation of Betelgeuse, according to the latest, most precise data, was pointed with a terrifyingly small deviation of just a few degrees directly at us. All the calculations were correct, all the models, except for one detail. We were supposed to die. Not instantly. First, the gamma rays would strike the upper atmosphere, burning away the ozone layer. Then, the harsh ultraviolet radiation from the supernova itself, and from our own, now unshielded sun, would scorch the plankton in the oceans, collapsing the food chain. Radiation would cause mass mutations. A new ice age would begin due to the formation of nitrogen oxides in the atmosphere. It would have been a slow but inevitable end, an extinction-level event. And so, the neutrino signal was received. The clock started ticking. The light from the explosion and the deadly radiation were already here, entering our solar system. There was no panic, because the information was classified at the highest levels. But in small circles, in observatories, in astrophysics institutes and space agencies, there was a quiet, cold terror. They checked the calculations again and again, hoping to find a mistake. But there was no mistake. And at that very moment, the second event occurred. It was detected by the Atlas system, the Asteroid Terrestrial Impact Last Alert System, a network of telescopes whose sole purpose is to scan the sky for asteroids heading toward Earth. It was built to warn us of threats from space, and it found a threat. Only, not the one we were expecting. The object received the temporary designation Ptolemy Atlas, .3 I Atlas. It appeared from interstellar space, moving on a trajectory that did not obey the laws of celestial mechanics. It wasn't a parabola, nor a hyperbola. It wasn't just flying by. It was braking. Engines, or something that served their function, were working against its colossal inertia. It was deliberately shedding speed as it approached the solar system. And then it did the unthinkable. It executed a perfect gravitational braking maneuver around Jupiter and settled precisely into the L1 Lagrange point of the Earth-Sun system. Let me explain. A Lagrange point is a unique place in space where the gravitational forces of two large bodies, in our case the Sun and the Earth, balance each other out. An object placed there can remain stationary relative to Earth, hanging perpetually between us and the Sun. It's the perfect observation post. We place our own satellites there, like SOHO and DS Covair. But .3 Atlas was no satellite. Its size, by the most conservative estimates, was tens of kilometers across. Spectral analysis showed it was not an asteroid or a comet. Its surface had an anomalously high albedo, meaning its reflectivity. It was smooth, almost mirror-like, and its composition defied classification. It was not rock, not ice, not metal as we understand it. It was something else, structured, crystalline, artificial, and most importantly, the timing of its arrival. It took its position at the L1 point mere hours before the first photon from the Betelgeuse explosion was due to reach Earth. Do you understand? Neutrinos arrive first because they barely interact with the star's matter, escaping the collapsing core instantly. Light and radiation need time to punch through the outer expanding shells. This delay can be anywhere from a few hours to a few days. And it was in this window, in this tiny, cosmologically insignificant moment, between the death scream of the neutrinos and the fatal blow of the gamma rays, that 3 Atlas arrived and placed itself between us and Orion, between us and death. And here, we enter territory where observational astrophysics ends and something else begins, something for which we do not yet have a name. Let's consider the hypotheses, from the simplest to the most unthinkable. Hypothesis 1, coincidence. It's just a coincidence. A monstrous, statistically impossible coincidence that violates every conceivable law of probability, but a coincidence nonetheless. An artificial interstellar object, flying through the void for billions of years, randomly decides to break in our system in this specific year, on this specific day, and take up a position that just so happens to be perfect for shielding against a supernova that also just so happens to explode right now, and not in 100,000 years. Is this a simple coincidence? Answer that for yourselves. The probability of this event is so small that the number representing it would require more atoms than exist in the observable universe. It is nonsense. Mathematical and philosophical nonsense. We must dismiss this hypothesis as absurd. Hypothesis 2, the observer. Point 3 Atlas is an automated probe, a research station. It came to study a rare event, a supernova explosion from a close yet safe distance. The L1 point is the ideal place for this. It allows for simultaneous observation of both the star and the reaction of a planetary system, like ours, to the event. In this version, we are not the target. We are part of the experiment. Lab mice being watched as deadly radiation is aimed at their cage. Perhaps the probe is simply gathering data on how a biosphere dies. Cold, dispassionate, indifferent science of an unknown civilization. This hypothesis is logical. It explains the object's artificial nature and its choice of location. But it doesn't explain one thing. Why now? How could they have known the exact time of the explosion? Our science, with all its achievements, could only provide a vague forecast spanning tens of thousands of years. To calculate the moment of collapse with an accuracy of a few days requires knowledge of stellar core physics that surpasses ours by orders of magnitude, or the ability to observe Betelgeuse in real time, ignoring the speed of light limit, which, in itself, shatters fundamental physics. And there's something else. After the first waves of radiation from the supernova reached the L1 point, the object, point 3I Atlas, changed. Telescopes detected a subtle shift in its spectrum. It began to glow, not with the reflected light of the sun, but with its own faint, barely perceptible luminescence in the terahertz range. It was doing something. It wasn't just observing, it was active. And so we come to it. Hypothesis 3, the wildest, the most unsettling, and the most likely. 3 Atlas is a shield. It did not come to observe. It came to save. It activated the moment the gamma ray burst was supposed to pierce it. It created some kind of field, or projection, or distortion of space-time that absorbed or deflected the deadly torrent of energy. We don't know how. Perhaps it's a magnetic field of monstrous power. Perhaps it's gravitational lensing, bending the trajectory of particles. Or perhaps it's a technology operating on principles we haven't even begun to comprehend. Macro-scale quantum decoherence. Zero-point energy manipulation. It sounds like science fiction. But an object that breaks from interstellar space and parks itself at a Lagrange point also sounded like science fiction. Until yesterday. We did not receive a lethal dose of radiation. Our magnetosphere took a severe hit, causing auroras visible across the entire planet, even at the equator. Communications went down for several hours, but the atmosphere held. The ozone layer is intact. We are alive. Someone, or something deliberately and purposefully saved us. And this is where all the questions begin. Who? Why? Perhaps they're the gardeners, an ancient, incomprehensible civilization that seeded life across the galaxy billions of years ago, and now they are simply tending to their garden. They do not interfere with our evolution, our wars, our self-destruction. Those are our internal problems, but they protect their creations from external cosmic threats, from asteroids, from nearby supernovae. They are our silent, invisible guardians, and 3 Atlas is just one of their tools, a cosmic fire extinguisher they sent after receiving the signal of an impending fire. Or perhaps it's even stranger. Perhaps they are us from the distant, unimaginably distant future, a humanity that survived, evolved, mastered time and space, and one that realized its own existence depended on one key event in the past, the survival of its cradle civilization during the Betelgeuse explosion. And so they sent this probe back in time to close the loop, to guarantee their own genesis. In this version, we were saved by our own great-great-great-granddaughter civilization, for whom creating such an artifact is a trivial task. We are the cause of our own salvation, a predestination paradox on a planetary scale. There is a third version, the saddest one. They are the precursors, a civilization that is no more. Perhaps they perished in a similar cataclysm, and before their extinction they created a fleet of these rescue stations and sent them across the galaxy to stars near which, by their calculations, intelligent life might arise. This is a posthumous gift, an act of altruism that has transcended eons and light years. They could not save themselves, but they left behind a legacy that saves others. And 3 Atlas is a silent monument to their greatness and their tragedy. Which of these versions is correct? We don't know. Perhaps none of them. Perhaps the truth is even more incomprehensible to our minds. What does all this mean for us? Right now, it means the Fermi paradox is solved. The famous question, where is everybody, has been answered. They are not silent. They are not hiding. They are simply operating on a level we couldn't imagine until now. Their language is not radio waves. Their language is action, acts of creation and preservation. Saving an entire biosphere from certain doom is the loudest and clearest message one could possibly receive. The message is, you are not alone. But there is a second, more unsettling part to this message. It reads, and you are not the masters of your own destiny. All of our history, all of our philosophy, religion, science, was built on the idea of our exceptionalism and our autonomy. We are reason, born from chaos. We are the children of the stars, forging our own path in a hostile universe. But that, it seems, is a lie. We are children playing in a playpen, watched over by unseen adults. Our survival, as it turns out, depends not only on our own efforts, but on their benevolence, on their technology, on their decision to intervene. This is both an incredible relief and a profound humiliation. We have been saved, but we have been saved the way a rare species of animal in a nature preserve is saved. We have been preserved, but have we been preserved for ourselves, or are we simply a valuable resource, an exhibit, a part of some grand design that we are incapable of comprehending? Right now, if you go outside on a dark night, you will see 2 miracles. The first is in place of Orion's shoulder. A new, unbearably bright star shines there. A nebula expanding at tens of thousands of kilometers per second. It is the beautiful and terrifying shroud of Betelgeuse, a monument to death on a cosmic scale. And the second miracle you will not see with the naked eye, but it is there, between us and the sun. The dark, silent silhouette of the object, Point 3 Atlas. It is still there. It has completed its primary mission, but it is not leaving. It is observing, studying us, studying the aftermath. It is a monument to life. A life that came from beyond to protect the life here. Death and salvation. The two poles of existence frozen in our sky. And we stand between them. The saved, bewildered, frightened, and awe-filled children of the universe who have just realized that they were never alone in their cradle. And now, we must learn to live with this knowledge. What do you think? Coincidence or design? Leave your thoughts below, and if you care, subscribe.